what are the attributes about Everson Griffen as a player that stand out to you? And do you believe your relationship or the fact you worked with him before had an impact or an influence on him signing with Dallas?
Everson is a very hard worker. Every day, whether it's at practice or on the field, you know what you're going to get. He's coming to work. He's going to be relentless in his effort. He's going to work the craft. Understanding, what we're doing schematically, I think he'll be another good piece for us to add as far as a pressure player. And I've had the pleasure of working with him the last 6 years, and just his success on the field, and just the kind of person that he is, and what he brings to the table. I think really help us down the stretch.
How much did the front office, coaching staff talk to you about him?
Oh, okay. I've had a relationship with him just from coaching him, the last 6 years. So we definitely know each other, know his family. Just working with him every day from day to day, and he's a good person and really works on himself, whether it's on or off the field, and that we kind of have got close as we were there the last 6 years, and I think, just us having that prior relationship and him being somewhere where he has some familiarity with some people around, I think was a big, part of his decision. Plus, he told me he grew up a big Cowboys fan, so I think he was excited about that too.
From where we're sitting, it seems like he's integrated with his teammates very quickly. Is that something you've always seen throughout his career, that he could just walk in the door and seem like he's been there for years and minutes?
Everson kind of has that kind of personality. You're going to know what he thinks and what he feels when he walks in the door during the course of the day. So he's not a guy that's hard to relate to or talk to, and he's going to tell you exactly what's on his mind. And he's a very caring person, and I mean that's one of the attributes that you really love about him. And whether it's with young guys trying to help them develop, or him learning some new things technically or fundamentally, schematically, he's going to ask questions and be active and involved in the discussions, and just try to make everybody around him better.
Leighton Vander Esch has some responsibilities now, calling, getting the defense in place. How is he handling those, and what are your expectations as you go along with that as far as what he needs to do?
I think he's done an excellent job thus far since we've had the opportunity to start practicing, of number one, understanding what needs to be adjusted from a defensive schematic point. He's handled the communication. I think the guys around him really trust him. Hearing his voice and doing those things, and I think collectively as a group, the linebackers have done a good job of buying into a new system, new terminology, understanding the different things that we're seeing in practice from our offense, and being able to get us lined up and adjusted, whatever that might be from play to play. So really excited about what he brings to the table from that aspect of it. But a really good football player, and has really been, had a good camp thus far.
So what is your impression from James Smith as a will linebacker? How you feel he's done with that role, being a little bit more freed up?
I'll tell you, I think he's really been really exceptional thus far since in training camp. Looking at him move around and different things that we're asking him to do schematically, and he's done a tremendous job, whether it's been in the run game, whether it's been in the passing game, as far as some of the matchups. He's really done a good job, and he's you can just see his work ethic every day as he goes out there, and just his communication with the players around him, and very charismatic as far as getting guys lined up and talking with different guys, and just how he's adjusting to things. So it's really been a pleasure to be around both of them, throughout the course of they've been in here working so far.
We got two young defensive tackles, and Tristan Hill and Gallimore. How have they looked to you the first 2 weeks of camp?
Both of those guys have really, we've asked them to play a little bit differently technique-wise than what they're used to, but they both have bought in. They're doing a good job of coming off the ball, using their hands in the run game. They've done a good job, continuing to advance their pass rush and pushing the pocket inside. So we're excited where they are right now and look for them to continue to get better with more exposure and more reps to what we're asking them to do.
Some of the players have talked to us about how the defense is more multiple than the scheme they were running last year. Obviously, there are benefits to that, but what are some of the challenges that you need to be prepared for to make sure they're not missing assignments or that they are ready come game one when they played in maybe a scheme last year that emphasized speed more?
Well, I think, we emphasize speed within our scheme right now too. It's just, we're asking them to do things a little bit differently than they've done. And it's just human nature. A lot of people will revert back to, what they've done before, when something new is introduced. So I think the more reps we continue to get, the better they get and more comfortable they become as far as the communication and executing, what we're asking to do from call to call. Guys have really been very excited about it. They've really bought in. Very happy to be working with this group and just, as we keep going through this journey and this process, seeing them to continue to develop and just get better from day to day.
When you have players who are accustomed to rushing with their hand on the ground, how do you make it comfortable for them to rush at times standing up? And is that a difficult transition? Is that something you can't force, or do you feel most players can make that transition with just enough time?
I think it's like anything else. Once you're trying something new, and you're used to having your hand in the dirt all the time, and then all of a sudden you're up. The more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to be able to come with it. And I think right now, as we're working through this process, we're asking guys to do some things that they probably haven't done before. But I think the more that they continue to do it, that they're becoming just as comfortable, standing up, hand in a three-point stance. In today's football, there's so much sub defense that, you're asking guys to rush, you're asking guys to drop. There isn't really a lot of variation in the job requirement that you're asking them to do. It's just that you want to make things look the same. You don't want to be standing up every time you're dropping. You don't want your hand in the dirt every time you're rushing. So we think the flexibility of being able to use those things as we keep progressing and they become more comfortable, we'll just, make that decision as we continue on through camp.